Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for joining the DSA Global Summit 2021. It's our pleasure to have here with us Mr. Tom Olguero. He's the Director of Spectrum Management at the Communications Authority. And we are really excited to hear from him some updates on all the different activities that have been led by the Communications Authority in Kenya. So, Mr. Olguero, it's really a pleasure to have you here with us today. Thank you very much for accepting our invite. And please go ahead, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Martha Suarez, for giving me this opportunity to be able to present what I should have presented last week. And I just want to thank you for this opportunity. And I want to say that the Communication Authority of Kenya is very pleased to participate at this Dynamic Spectrum Alliance Summit, which has been convened to share experiences on spectrum sharing strategies. From the onset, I'd wish to thank the DSA for the invitation and opportunity to speak at this 9th annual summit. Kenya attaches great significance to efforts targeting innovation ranging from licensing to unlicensed spectrum allocations. This event therefore provides a platform for us not only to share our experience on how best we are implementing spectrum sharing strategies, but also gain insights from other best practices from across the globe. During these tough times, which are occasioned by COVID-19 pandemic, ICTs have emerged as the key means of addressing connectivity challenges caused by the pandemic and responding to the realities of the new normal which faces us. Arising from the increased demand for telecommunication services, relying on radio frequency spectrum, the authority has undertaken various interventions to ensure adequate service provision in Kenya at the height of the pandemic. Principally, the authority released additional IMT spectrum resources to enable network operators to meet increased data and internet services during this period. The authority is considering various models of sharing underutilized IMT spectrum bands in partnership with mobile network operators. The authority has thus published a framework authorizing the use of UHF band TV white spaces after recognizing the potential to provide coverage in underserved areas of Kenya. And I wish to thank Martha for mentioning that we were recognized on that. Thank you very much, the global community. The authority plans to expedite the commercial availability of geolocation database service and implement required mechanisms to make TV wide spectrum available immediately to operators. Further, the authority intends an incubatory period for TV white space technologies and also evaluate whether a regional approach to the implementation of geolocation databases is feasible and practical. Considering that countries in Africa have adopted similar regulatory frameworks for TV white spaces, it is and operationally easier to develop geolocation database systems that serve multiple regulatory domains rather than developing one solution, because economies of scale. Just for radio vendors and database administrators, That is, economies of scale are easier for larger addressable markets, which ultimately could make the cost of TV whitespace solutions more affordable for operators and end users. The authority is also involved in the work of African Telecommunications Union task group on emerging technologies that is developing recommendations on the use of the lower 6 gigahertz frequency band on a license-exempt basis. Further, the authority plans to develop rules to allow the 24 gigahertz and 60 gigahertz bands for license-exempt use. If I may add, communication services present the best avenue to redress some of the most pressing issues of our time, but most importantly, the gaping disparities in our societies, especially the digital divide. There is an urgent need for low-cost internet access services across Kenya, and development trends indicate that small networks, especially community broadband wireless network and private LTE networks, shall be pivotal to closing the digital divide. The authority has partnered with public policy, civil societies, academia, industry players, UK Digital Access Program to design interventions targeting the unconnected in Kenya. Through this partnership, we are now in the process of finalizing a framework for shared spectrum and licensing of community networks in Kenya that we hope will provide complementary mechanisms for access to broadband in the country and enable communities to own and manage their telecommunications infrastructure. The authority has defined an ambitious plan of action for spectrum sharing strategies to enable spectrum access by operators actively working to close the usage gap. The authority, through the Universal Service Fund, has also undertaken major initiatives to facilitate the widespread availability of communication services, including implementation of mobile network infrastructure projects and connecting public secondary schools to broadband as part of efforts to integrate informational communication technologies in learning. Over the years, the authority's technology-neutral licensing framework has been instrumental in spurring innovation in the ICT sector in Kenya, opening up space for new players and providing consumers with a diversity of choices to make. We are keen on leveraging this approach to open doors to emerging realities, given that where communication networks have been successfully deployed, there has been a corresponding improvement in uptake of ICT services and greater societal good. We therefore look for exciting engagements during this forum to learn from others on other available proactive approaches that we can leverage on to enhance access to communication services by all. And with those few words, I say thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to address the audience, and I really appreciate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olguero, Director of Frequency Spectrum Management at the Communications Authority. It's really a pleasure to hear so many initiatives. You just mentioned the recent advancements in TV white spaces, giving more spectrum for those that need it, including different stakeholders from the industry, and the recent work on community networks. It's really exciting to see what you are all doing in terms of getting more people online and with access to the internet. So
Okay.
thank you very much for this presentation. And well, we look forward to continuing working with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate also on behalf of the Communications Authority of Kenya